Hi, this is David Harris with Strength Performance Network. We're coming to you from the 2017 NSCA Coaches Conference. I'm here with Scott Caulfield, who's the head strength and conditioning coach for the NSCA. First, Scott, I'd like to thank you and the NSCA for giving us an opportunity to be here. Really appreciate it.
Glad you guys are here.
It's a great opportunity to meet with a lot of coaches and to see what you as an organization have going on to support the industry and all of the new technologies that we have to provide value to the coaches in the industry.
Yeah, no, thanks for being here. You guys are part of the largest NSCA coaching event in our history. So we were 1,160 coaches so far showed up for this event. So it's the biggest coaches conference in NSCA history. Really exciting.
Yeah, fantastic. You can feel the energy in here on the floor as well. So it's been a fun day today. So Scott, I really appreciate the time to talk to you as well, and I was really wanted to start with an opportunity for you to kind of talk a little bit about your background for those in the industry to learn a little bit more about kind of what you did getting involved in the strength and conditioning industry and ultimately ending up here at the NSCA.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a little bit of everything. I started out like a lot of people do, personal training first, working in a health club. I kind of found out about training athletes when I just talked to more people, and they said, hey, if you want to train athletes, you need to look at this CSCS certification, and it's through this organization called the NSCA, and I didn't know much about it, so I kind of looked it up and just did research on it, and then I decided to pursue that, and I got my CSCS. I learned a lot just from that content about how to set up programs and how to train in the proper energy systems and different things like that. And then, I kind of progressed like a lot of us do. I started working with one team. I was at Norwich University, where I just worked with the rugby program, which is the oldest military university in the country. It's in Vermont. And then kind of snowballed from there. I did some things at the club I worked at, the health club. I wanted to grow into training athletes. So I basically had to make my own kind of job, and so I ran a summer camp. We called it just Summer Strength and Conditioning Camp. It was for young athletes, 13 to 18. I kept doing that. That kind of built and built and built. I became more involved in the NSCA, so I spoke at state clinics. One thing led to another. I became the NSCA Vermont State Director. And then that kind of allowed me to grow more as a coach, learn more. I got to network more, meet other people, and then, next from that position, I went on to being a strength coach for an ABA basketball team, which is the one with the red, white, and blue ball. And that team was called the Vermont Frost Team. So they came. Someone bought a franchise, came to the town that I lived in, and it was just perfect experience, perfect timing. I had played basketball all my life. I was into strength and conditioning. I became the strength coach and the director of camps for the Frost Teams for 2 years. We won the ABA championship back-to-back years. I mean, you couldn't have dreamed up a better situation. From there, I went, unbelievable, yeah. They ended up trying to keep playing for a couple more years, but like a lot of other ABA teams, they lost resources and just couldn't keep it going. And from there, I went on to Dartmouth College, where I was a strength coach for football, men's and women's swimming, and rugby. And at that time, I was really enjoying working the collegiate setting and doing the NSCA state director stuff on the side. I'd been out to visit the headquarters in 2010, and I thought, man, Colorado Springs is a really cool place. This facility is amazing. One thing led to another. I had put feelers out, just said, hey, this would be a great place, I think, for me to go. And I was able to get a job there. So I started in January 2011. Coming up on 6 years at the headquarters. I was promoted after about 6 months of being there to the head strength and conditioning coach, and my job has changed a lot too. I do a million other things besides actually coaching in the weight room, related to conferences, related to content, related to anything that might help strength and conditioning coaches. Yeah.
So I know you guys just built a new strength and conditioning facility out there, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, awesome project to be part of. So our facility was built in 2004, and then it really hadn't been updated since then. We had different pieces of equipment, we had obtained more and more equipment, and it got more and more crowded. And so it was just with the conferences and clinics that we run at the headquarters, our different groups that we have come in from other countries, mentorship programs we run, it wasn't the most efficient use of our space. And so I started kind of proposing to our management, upper management, board of directors, hey, let's update this facility. I got buy-in from it. I got permission to move forward. Our sponsorship director, Mary Claire Brennan, huge asset in helping me develop our kind of plan of attack for how to get the RFPs out and how that whole process worked, choose the vendors that we ended up going with, and then renovate the facility, which just happened mid-September. So really exciting to be part of that. Hammer Strength is our huge sponsor. They're all the strength equipment. Can't say enough about Lon Record and just working with him and his team to get this facility designed, play flooring, and Alico barbells, dumbbells, and kettlebells. It is the sweetest facility that, I'm obviously biased, but it is cool. And it's functional. It flows for what we need to do. So we need to still train athletes. We train high school, collegiate, and tactical athletes, mostly police officers and firefighters at the headquarters. But then, like I said, we do all these other educational things for strength and conditioning coaches. And really, the NSCA trains coaches, right? We're lucky that we're fortunate that me and my staff do get to still keep our hand in training athletes on a regular basis. But really, the NSCA's mission is training coaches.
Yeah, and I think, myself, with knowing about the NSCA, my understanding of the NSCA really is the benefit that you provide to coaches directly. But when you talk about your facility there, you're obviously doing a lot with the end athlete as well. So when they come to the facility, are they coming there with their coaches, or are you actually coaching some of those athletes from NSCA staff members?
No, that's a good question. Yeah, we run all the training programs ourselves. So it's again, it's a more of a community resource. We don't charge a lot of money. We don't have typical strength and conditioning facility hours. We are much more there, to keep our hand in, to show that what we do at headquarters, we are still relevant and we still know what our strength and conditioning coach members go through and have to deal with. So we are doing the application, in our facility on a daily basis. We obviously don't want to compete with someone who's a CSCS, though, who's in our town in Colorado Springs trying to make a living. So we don't go and work, we're not open 24/7. We don't solicit business. It's kind of if you know about us, you could find us, but you'll never see an ad for training at the NSCA in a newspaper or anything like that. So
coaching by nature, by definition, is all about giving back. Your profession is helping others to improve. And I know the NSCA really talks a lot about volunteerism and the importance of that in a coach's career. Can you talk a little bit about what the NSCA is doing in that regard?
Yeah, and I'm a huge proponent of this because I started in the NSCA as a state director and a volunteer, and I think that's what sets the NSCA apart from a lot of other organizations. People don't realize that you can get involved just as a volunteer. You can help out at state clinics. There's regional clinics. There's now state advisory boards. So state directors now, and this is new, I didn't have this when I was a state director. As a state director, you're tasked with having your own get your name out more, to meet other people within your state or within your region. When I was the Vermont State Director, I had strength coaches from Boston College, Boston University, University of New Hampshire. I reached out to people all throughout New England to come and do state clinics. And it's not an opportunity to, we're never going to get rich speaking at clinics, and it's not about making money, at least for the majority of the people that I know. People are interested in coming to share the knowledge that they have with other coaches, and again, talk to other coaches, get some new ideas, talk about common problems, and that's where I think, again, the NSCA sets itself apart. We have a ton of different committees that people can get involved with. Our board of directors is a group of volunteers, 9-member board of directors who really, steer the NSCA from the 30,000 foot level, and that they're all volunteers. Obviously, when you get to that level, you've had a number of years of volunteering within the NSCA at different levels, but it's really cool that level, you can build up to become that high level of volunteer.
So becoming CSCS certified, there are some pretty stringent requirements in terms of the knowledge you have to the exams you need to pass, and the work you need to do to stay certified. But being able to actually apply that, is another challenge, right? So I know that you're working on some efforts to help coaches to take the book smarts they have and actually be better able to apply those in this strength and conditioning setting. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, really excited about the Foundations of Coaching Lifts course, and this is the first certificate program the NSCA has delved into. So again, it's not a certification, it's not something where you sit and take a test, but you will be assessed on your ability to coach somebody through 4 different lifts. We had a group of subject matter experts, professional coaches, researchers, college coaches, high school coaches develop this course manual. It's a 2-day hands-on training course where you're going to learn how to teach progressions and regressions for the squat, power clean, the push press, and the bench press, and all different variations of those lifts. So those are the fundamental lifts that we think everyone should know how to teach properly. And again, it's going to be a little different. It's not how well that you can perform a squat or power clean. It's going to be how well you can teach me and coach me through a progression to learn it. Very different. And again, definitely a piece of the puzzle that we're missing, especially for these young coaches, to know how to coach someone, not just what a lift's supposed to look like.
That's great. I mean, coaches coming into the profession, especially the young ones, you're so busy as a coach, you don't have time to necessarily teach them everything, right? So if they can come to you already having a lot more of that fundamental knowledge in terms of how to apply it, it just adds immediate value to your program, right?
It's just going to be another tool in your toolbox. And again, there's not a lot of, we don't talk about a lot of kind of fundamentals of coaching, pedagogy, and like just, hey, this is how you talk to someone, or this is where you stand when you're coaching a lift. This is what you're looking for of the body moving. A lot of people know, well, I know the bar is supposed to go from here to here, or, but they don't necessarily know, well, this is what you do if someone has, if your knees are coming in together, or if something, my upper back is rounding. Like, these are the cues, proper cueing, and learning how to correct technique. So really neat stuff.
So if I'm a strength coach out there and I'm not certified yet, how can I go about finding out information on how to get certified by the NSCA? And then if I am certified, where would you recommend as a coach I start to look to try and get more involved with the NSCA?
Best way to, if you're in school still and you might be at a school that offers some kind of CSCS prep, we really recommend that kind of stuff. The website has a certification tab that'll tell you all about how to take the certification and how to get involved. We have exam prep symposiums and clinics all over the country, so it will help people with that final prep. Make sure you know you're studying the right stuff. Make sure you learn what the questions are asking. Another thing that I will mention are registered strength and conditioning coach. So people who are already CSCS, they may want to take kind of the next step. We have a designation. Now, it's not a certification, but it's for people who have been coaching and have experience. You have to have a minimum of 2 years full-time coaching experience. But it's called the Registered Strength and Conditioning Coach, and it's a designation. We call it RSCC. Major League Baseball just got written into the collective bargaining agreement, so the players union and the union, the NMLB, agreed on this to require all Major League Baseball strength coaches to have a CSCS and the RSCC designation. It's the first professional organization to require this. They're going to require it at the head coach level, minor league coordinator, AA and AAA. All of those positions must be hired, must have a CSCS and RSCC. So it's a huge step forward. And if you're a full-time practicing strength and conditioning coach, this is how you can set yourself apart by getting the RSCC designation, because it shows that you are working as a coach in a full-time setting. So people who instruct classes maybe half the time in their job and coach can't get it. You have to be a full-time coach. Athletic trainers cannot get this designation. Professors cannot get this designation. Researchers cannot get this designation. You have to be a full-time coach. It's really good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I guess that's just the beginning of a trend, right? I mean, we're already seeing more schools and professional teams themselves look for certified coaches.
Yeah, it's raising the standards of professionalism within the organization. Like I said, it's great that MLB decided to do it. I think we work closely with the NBA Strength Coaches Association too. They're requiring it as an association for all head NBA strength coaches to hold the RSCC. I think they hope to get it written into the CBA, but obviously they're kind of just starting with it. But even, the cool thing is I talk to strength coaches who have been around for a long time. And they might have been coaching for 10, 15 years, and now these MBA guys are excited about getting their CSCS and getting this RSCC designation, because it's really going to set them apart, right, in a very competitive atmosphere, especially at the highest level. This is going to show that they have gone above and beyond, that they are the cream of the crop.
It's only going to push the profession itself, right?
Absolutely, it's only going to make it better. Yeah, so we're excited.
Scott, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you again for having us here. And look forward to spending more time here tomorrow. So thank you for your time. Thanks.
Appreciate it.